Alright, what's going on, y'all? I'm back, and this one I want to talk about some stuff that I was actually wanting to do over the weekend, really before the weekend, given SummerSlam being on Saturday. And in all honesty, I just wound up taking yesterday off. I don't know what it was, I just wasn't really into doing a whole lot. So, really, there's a lot of stuff I've been involved with as far as Twitter discussions are concerned. And one of which was in regards to the situation between Jonathan Gresham, the former Ring of Honor champion and owner of AEW as well as Ring of Honor, Tony Khan. And the way I hear it, well, quite frankly, it's just been worded like this. I'm sort of paraphrasing this because it's not exactly verbatim, but turns out that Gresham was cursing TK smooth the out. Yeah, I just wanted to avoid cursing there just in this instance, but I mean, that I gotta say is incredibly alarming if that's the case for a variety of reasons. And again, today's news just does not help that whatsoever. In fact, it's actually changed the dynamic of a lot of the things that I wanted to say. Because originally, there was a lot of talk going around, especially because Tony Khan had his reaction to the news of Triple H taking over as head of creative and just taking over a lot of things, a majority of Vince McMahon's task creative wise. Of course, you've got Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan, who are co-CEOs, and Steph being the chairwoman. But yeah, as far as like everything wrestling wise, Trips is the man now, and he very well should be. And quite frankly, he should have been a long time ago. And I think we're looking at this. It's probably at least a decade or so overdue, or at least to a point to where, if nothing else, it should have been sort of on the job training, so to speak, where Triple H was concerned and Vince could groom him to be the, I guess, directing. Um, I'm sorry, I'm getting brain lock on the terminology that I want to use right now, but just everything that Vince sees as a necessity for anyone to be taking over his role as head of creative. And of course, there was a lot of clashing between the two of them, and it was just any and every chance Vince got to shut Triple H down on anything that he had to offer, he took it, which is pretty shameful when you really get to thinking about it. I mean, I don't know. It just kind of blows my mind how bad this was for as long as it was. And then you have, within the last several months, where you had the Hart episode with Triple H and all the stress that he was under. I mean, it just was really, really alarming to see what he was going through at that point. But nonetheless, that's all aside from the point. Because all that matters is that Triple H is going to have all of this go in the direction that it needs to be going. And it's funny because a lot of people, myself included, were inclined to believe that to do away with this Vince residue that still sort of lingers around the company right now. I mean, it's basically like airing out a bad odor out of a room of a house or a car or something like that. That's just going to be sticking around for a bit. But I don't know. I'm starting to think this may turn around a lot quicker than a lot of us wanted to believe or ever thought realistically possible. And we're already starting to see some night and day things. I mean, I think we're still going to see a lot of stuff that we've been seeing in recent past just for a little bit, but I mean, man, something really, really feels different. I don't know any other way to say it. And enough so to where, just going back to, Tony Khan's reaction, which I really um, derailed myself real bad from that. But his reaction to that, and I'm paraphrasing this largely because I don't feel like bringing up any of the quotes or anything, but there's just no way that you're going to magically have people that I have under contract suddenly appear on their show out of nowhere like it's going to be nothing. Which, largely in principle, with what he's trying to get across, he's right about that, and he's not wrong. And you could even argue there was a little bit of saltiness in a lot of what he was saying, but just looking at it from a logical perspective, I have a tough time disagreeing with where he was coming from on that. However, just a combination of how a lot of things been happening along with the situation with Jonathan Gresham, I can't help but feel like now there's just no way that Tony Khan isn't going to have to do a complete 180 on a lot of things that he's doing. Now, with what he did on Dynamite recently, particularly with, I don't know why I'm so lost on this one, but just with having Daniel Garcia in the main event beat Bryan Danielson the way that he did, of course, Danielson's going to wind up getting revenge, but, to have him win that match the way that he did, that's a good thing, because he's putting over younger talent for one, and over a name like Bryan Danielson, that's a very, very good direction to go. And another thing that they have going, which I like, is the stuff that they're doing with the Acclaimed and the Gun Club, and with the video that they aired Friday night on Rampage. I actually like what they're doing with Max Caster. They definitely need to get him going in a specific direction for the sake of their company growth, because if they don't, then, that's just going to cause more problems, especially with all the other free agents that they've brought in, especially given all that's happened with WWE over the last 3 years at least, pretty much since the pandemic. But even with all of that, there's that. And then, of course, Rampage, you had a little thing with Ethan Page, all ego Ethan Page. I'm glad I know how to talk. Boy, I'm sure these videos go over so smoothly. But anyway, yeah, I mean, as far as the situation with Ethan Page is concerned, this is a guy who's a big-time talent and should be on TV a hell of a lot more than what he has been. And I'm sorry, it's just grossly unacceptable on Tony Khan's part that hasn't been the case. It's been grossly unacceptable the way that the women have been booked, or lack thereof, especially bringing in a name like Athena the way that they've been doing, and all the other stuff. One thing I will say, going back to the positives, is what they're doing with Anna Jay and her match with Ruby Soho, which was awesome. They did that every bit of how they needed to, but they need to keep building off of that. And it's good to see Britt Baker coming back, but it shouldn't take things like that for that particular division to get built up properly. And on top of that, with them introducing more and more championships, I mean, there's no way in hell that we shouldn't be getting a women's tag team championship. And especially with as many women as they have, you should be grooming the hell out of them to be poised to win said tag titles. I mean, yeah, you've got a good thing going with Jade Cargill with the TBS championship, but sooner or later, you need to transition her into being the AEW women's champion. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about that, and again, that's something where Tony Khan is really going to have to get his shit together on that, because if he doesn't, he's going to wind up being on the wrong end of a landslide. And I'm not even joking when I say that. I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys enjoy, like, share, subscribe. Really hit me on the likes, shares, and subscribes, because we're going to need it to get things turned around. Views are picking up. I want to say thank you to everybody that's come through to check me out. But, yeah, hopefully you guys can help me get over on this, because we want to get this thing going in the right direction. But nonetheless, with that, thank you for coming through, checking me out, and I'll catch y'all later.